I'm Jessica Johnson Cope.
And I'm Waleed Cope.
And
this is Commerce and Chill.
And we are back. Welcome to the latest episode of Commerce and Chill. I'm Jessica Johnson Cope.
And I'm Waleed Cope.
And we're business partners who just happen to be married.
Oh, yes.
And you are here for a lovely ride to hear about what we do, how we do it together, and how you as a small business owner or as someone who has a significant other can be successful in life.
Yeah.
Or at least act like it.
Or just do you. Be happy. That's all.
We are all surviving the crisis. And I was all set. We had a theme. We were about to talk about it. I'm not even going to bring it up so we can talk about it in another episode. And then what? Dang, why they want to stick me for my papers?
It's life. This life.
We had somebody that tried to get us. So today's topic is FRAUD. Fraud, you won't get me. Chief.
Tough. Yes.
What's going on with the world?
Yeah, so
You want to tell the good people the story, or you want me to tell
I mean, like, we don't really need to talk about the whole story. It's just like, listen, we all know how it is. If you have people who are on your team, you have, employees, just to use the politically correct term, which I prefer to use team members because I think the word using employees is so 1960. Somebody can do the recall on that post we did a while ago where Espinosa hooked up for us. But payroll. You have to pay people by either direct deposit or checks. And,
I mean, you could pay them off the books and pay them in cash.
Yeah, I'm just not trying to go to jail.
You could pay them in trade.
You could barter, but I don't think Department of Labor would smile on that. They would probably.
You could pay them in coochie coupons.
That is something I do not have stock in, nor do I have any.
I mean, that's not the way we do it around here.
Yeah, so I don't have any of that in my account.
I'm just saying some people do.
Yeah, well, to each his own. So, but when you have team members, they have to get paid. So you either pay them traditionally, but either direct deposit or they get a check. Mm-hmm. And when you provide someone a check from your business or personal account, they can see your routing and account number. So some people feel it is very easy, or they feel it's beneficial for them to try and commit some type of financial fraud using that information in this day and age. Mm-hmm. Why? I don't know. I mean, I know, but I don't get it. And we always say this thing like, use your powers for good instead of for evil. So it's a quick get over in the short term, but in the long term, you end up you end up screwing yourself and other people. And the person you end up thinking you're screwing in the short term, you're really not. So we say that to say this as you got to be careful with your business and even with your personal stuff these days, because we all know you can. It's a great convenience where you can take a picture with your banking app and deposit a check. But what you need to be mindful of is if your team member takes a picture of it, deposit it, where's the original check? They still have it.
In most cases, even though the banks will suggest if you use auto capture for deposit that you shred and destroy the check.
Right. But how many people shred it and destroy it right after they do that? So there is a group of people of a certain mindset who feel, well, if I took a picture of it and it deposited, could I just take this check and put it in the ATM or take it directly to the bank and deposit it a second time? And you, audience land, is probably like, who would do that or why? But yes, they do. And we've seen it happen a couple times.
Just a few.
More than one is enough for me.
So true.
More than zero is enough for me. So you got to be mindful of it, and especially in this day and time where every penny counts. So if you're paying someone's got a check, and they deposit it twice, it'd screw up your books for, a small and mid-sized business very easily, because you're counting every dollar to make sure everything is accounted for and you're allocating your resources correctly. So, that's one thing. They can deposit the check twice. The other thing you got to be careful of is, again, on that check is your accounting, your account information, your account number, and your routing number for your bank. So we all know about how you can make automatic payment. You can make electronic payments online. And when they ask you to make a payment online, a lot of times they give you the option to use ACH. You put in your routing number, you put in the account number. Someone could legitimately put in your account number and routing number from that check.
Someone tried to put our routing number and account number for their payment.
So you have to be very careful of that in the business. So when Johnson brings up talking about fraud today, there are things you won't be able to stop, right? But as a business owner, you need to put things in place to prevent that abuse internally and externally. Mm-hmm. So, people in business, you'll think about, if I run a retail shop, you're thinking about shoplifting. It's top of mind. You think right away of shoplifting to say, hey, we got to make sure people don't steal stuff off the shelves or off the racks, right? But the other thing is, too, that's external. Someone coming into your business stealing. Then there's the thought in retail like, I need to watch the register to make sure the employees or team members don't steal cash out the register. So there's internal and external. But the other thing you got to think about on it, deeper on the internal side, is how do they not steal from you on the electronic side? Because in most businesses, especially in retail, or you're dealing with a cash business, you're thinking about the cash register. How can a team member steal from the business from the register? But how could they? What you really need to be thinking about too is how can they steal from you electronically? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things. I shouldn't say a lot of things, but there's some tools you can put in place to help you either monitor it, detect it, or stop it. So,
yeah. So I was a little disturbed when I was notified, or when I noticed that there was potential fraud. So I go to my trusty reference guide. A lot of times one of the first places I look is the Urban Dictionary.
Okay.
And when I looked up fraud in the Urban Dictionary, there were 3 definitions. 1 was imposter, 2 was fake, and 3 was Homer Simpson.
What? Homer Simpson comes up for fraud in the Urban Dictionary?
I can't make this up.
Man, Homer is a fraud? I wouldn't think Homer's a fraud.
And it gives
Homer Simpson?
It gives a sample.
Or Homer from the Iliad?
No, it says Homer Simpson. Simpson. It says Homer. What if people think it's a guy is a hero, but he's really just lucky? And it says Magic Johnson. Don't worry. Sooner or later, people like that are exposed as the frauds they are. So
he's not saying Homer Simpson is a fraud. It's using him in an example of fraud in the Urban Dictionary.
Yes. But when I think about that and the times that we're going through,
it does say Homer
2 things come to mind. Number 1.
It's Homer saying it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Number 1 is that, yes, we have to put financial controls in place, both internal and external. So if you work with an accountant, a bookkeeper, they can make recommendations based on your business as to what you can do to prevent internal fraud and external fraud when it comes to your financial accounts and your financial records. Additionally, if you work with a business banker, you can talk to them about recommendations for controls against fraud. In some cases, they may have applications like positive pay or reverse checks and things like that you can get from the banking side to protect you. Lastly, if you have a business insurance broker, talk to your broker about recommended policies and procedures for cash management and for financial controls, because they can document some things and make recommendations based on your business and what they know you do to get you the most optimal insurance coverage and make sure that you protect yourself and limit your liabilities. So that's one thing on the business side. But on the life side, what it made me think about, and by the way, with all of this money going out for PPP, the Paycheck Protection Plan, as well as EIDL, which stands for Economic Injury Disaster Loans that out by the SBA, that there's a lot of confusion around those programs. There's a lot of money that the federal government has indicated will be dispersed to businesses and people. And as a result, there's going to be a lot of fraud. And there's already been cases of people trying to jack websites to get business and personal information that they can misuse and abuse. Additionally, what we're finding is that people are misrepresenting their businesses to get access to those funds.
Yeah.
So you want to be mindful, make sure that you put all the accurate information, that you're working with reputable bankers if you're trying to get some of this stimulus money that's being pushed out by the federal government. And then on a more people relationship side, there are a lot of people who've been posing either in their businesses or how they represent themselves personally that have begun to be exposed for who they really are as a result of this crisis, right? So you talk about the people sign up for my program or make money while you sleep. And how many of those ads are you seeing these days?
Oh, I still see them. They pop up in my feed or in my stories, or they show up in YouTube pre-roll. Like, I still see them.
Are you seeing as many?
I'm probably not their target market, so I don't probably see as many. Espinoza, you see, is still seeing a lot. Yeah, see, he's still seeing it. I'm not clicking on enough stuff to be their target audience. Espinoza clicks on all that stuff because he screenshots it and sends it to me. So they tracking his ass. They tracking him good. What?
Is that where we have to bleep?
No, it's in the Bible.
In the same context?
And it's an animal.
In the same context?
What?
Okay.
That does not make the podcast explicit. Nope. What you said in a couple episodes ago makes us go on the explicit list.
No, we're not on the explicit list. Not
yet.
You see my halo. But you get to see who people really are, right? And I never wish anybody harm. I don't want to see people suffer. But now is the perfect time if you've been hiding behind a mask, either in your business, in your professional life, or in your relationships, to come clean about who you are. Like, I think about that episode from, was that I'm Gonna Get You Sucker? With Dawn Lewis, and she's like, this hair is not mine, these eyes are not mine.
Oh yeah, she takes off her wig,
she takes off her
everything,
contact lenses, she takes her leg off.
Yeah, leg off. Yeah,
right.
It was like,
and so we have
like,
a lot of people that are posing, right? They straight up frauds in real life about who they are. And as we're going through the crisis, they have to press this reset button and be more of who they really are. And with the self-isolation and stay-at-home orders, people are having to spend more time with themselves and face a reality of who they are.
Listen, I'm not going to disagree with that at all. But this whole crisis is serious, right? And like, I'm almost at a loss
serious
for words.
As the peak frame?
Yeah, like it's serious. Not even the word I want to use. I'm just like, it's unprecedented, right? There's nothing, right? Unprecedented. Everybody says that.
No, that's going to be the word of the year for 2020.
Right, but I'm saying we can't go back in history that anyone in these, let's say, generations that are living now, that we can go back in any time during our lifetime of these, let's say the current 2 to 3 generations that are living now, that we can go back in our lifetime and point to something that says this compares to what's going on now, right? They can go back in history, we can read, and they talk about all these different pandemics that happened, many, many years ago, but we have no real point of reference or frame of reference to say we experienced that. So I'm not taking anything away from what's going on right now, because it's very serious. People are sick. People have died. People have been affected emotionally and financially. But for what we're talking about, I want to separate into 2 pieces.
Okay.
The personal aspect of it versus the business.
Okay.
And I'm just speaking totally on the business part of it. And some of probably what I'm going to say is very realistic. It's going to be gut punching. And it's going to be cold, hard facts, right? Straight in the solar plex. And some people might be like, yo, bro, like, F you for what I'm going to say. But what I'm talking about is pure, explicit. What I'm talking about is pure business. And you mentioned, like, now people have to look in the mirror and say, hey, this is what's really been, this is what's really going on. This is what I'm about now, or this is what my business or thing is about, whatever that thing you might be doing. You're talking about those pop-up ads that are targeting Espinoza now because he clicked on them, and they want him to make $10,000 a week
while he sleeps.
While he sleeps, like, so. With that, I say the previous economic conditions have been dynamic. Like it's been windfalls for people. Now that this has happened, those, as you mentioned, like were living or operating in this like this bubble or these pretenses of selling people these dreams or these things that weren't tangible, like buy my e-course and it will make you into this type of person, or the people that we see with their profiles that say they are entrepreneur or CEO. Let's be clear. This would probably be the best analogy I could give. If you put in your profile you were a ballet dancer, and I put in my profile I'm an entrepreneur, Espinoza, Hamlet, Miss AJ, Armbruster, Ordonez, anybody could walk up to both of us and say, "Oh, he's an entrepreneur and you're a ballerina." Prove it. You could do some ballerina.
Do a plie.
You could do a plie, however it's pronounced. You could do some ballerina moves, and people would be like, "She's a ballerina." Or you could attempt to do it, and they'd be like, "Nah," right? But you do it, and they're like, "She's a ballerina." How does somebody say to me, "Prove you're an entrepreneur or CEO"?
Act like it.
No, right. But acting like it doesn't prove it. But now that the economic conditions we're in now, if you got CEO, entrepreneur, business person, hustle man business, or hashtag I'm a business mover, I create whatever, now you got to prove it. Because the whole business thing just went fast. It just happened overnight. It wasn't like, oh, forecasted. We saw it coming. Like the stock market started ticking down slowly. No, it was today we woke up and they were like, these businesses will now be closed. And then we woke up the next day and they were like, no, let me rephrase it. First, they were like, some of these businesses need to scale back and will reduce what they do. And then we woke up a couple of days later and it was like, if your business is not on this list, you do not open at all. So damn, that flash is loud on that camera. Taking nothing away from anyone's skills, anything. Now is the time to step up to the plate, grab the bat, and crush the pitch when it comes to you in business. This is when you dig down in your gut, in your heart, and show that you're really an entrepreneur, not a wantrepreneur, not someone who got into business because it was the cool thing to do for the past 8 years because the economy was on fire. How many businesses who are still around today doing well that were built in 2008, that were founded in 2008, that launched in 2008 when the economy was down? There were several that are still going today, and there's some that weren't. And don't ask me for any examples because I don't remember off the top of my head because I'm totally fired up right now. So Google it. Google. This thing on the internet tells you a lot of stuff. Just don't believe all of it, right? This is the time. Like there are people sitting down right now at home and they're just waiting to say, oh, when's the governor going to say we can open back up? Why are you waiting? Why? Why are we waiting? Get out there and do something. Pivot. Create something new. You got some ideas that have been sitting on the shelf. Now is the time to test them. Why? People are sitting at home consuming content like never before because they've got nothing else to do. They're trapped in the house. They're looking for escapism. Put it out. So I digress. So we were talking about fraud, right?
Right, but while you're going down that path, I just want to give a couple of actionable tips for how you cannot be a fraud during this crisis and how you can come out on the end as an entrepreneur with a viable business and come out stronger than you were before February 15th. And that, I'm saying February 15th because that's the arbitrary date that the SBA is saying everything went awry.
Okay, so let's back up. We talked about fraud. Mm-hmm. So you're a small business owner, right? You've got, I don't care if you've got 2 employees or you've got 200. Mm-hmm. One thing you should have is positive pay. I think we can both agree on that.
Okay.
Or some type, depending on what bank you have, something that's like it.
Okay.
So if you don't know what positive pay is, Google it. But in the short term, what positive pay is, it's automatically set up with your banking institution. And any check that comes in that's not on a pre-approved list will get rejected automatically.
And just for clarification, because I know somebody's out there and they got their lip all turned up like, hey, why don't people just pay direct deposit? Yes, direct deposit is definitely an option. However, for many small businesses, where cash is king and credit is queen.
Cash is king and credit is queen. I gotta remember that one.
Yeah. You have to have certain cash levels to be able to pay by direct deposit. And the crisis has made it such for some small businesses where their clients or money sources might have dried up, and they may not have been able to pay by direct deposit because those cash amounts were not there. So before you even say, why don't you just get direct deposit? I had direct deposit and I know how it works. And I know all that.
Yeah, but whatever. They still get the stub, and the stub still has the same information on it.
But it doesn't have the bank and routing information if you get direct deposit.
You're true.
So
I take that back.
We
I
get
stand
that.
corrected.
I'm just saying, everybody ain't there. And there's also a large portion of people who are unbanked, so we keep that in mind as well. So direct deposit may not be an option for their employees. So you were saying, make sure you have positive pay.
Get positive pay. And if you're not familiar what it is, definitely, talk to your financial institution, get more details on it. But it's simple. It's a mechanism that's is turned on by your financial institution. And basically, it has an approval list of any check that should be cleared by your account, through your account. So if you write 10 checks today, you could go in, upload those 10 checks, the check number, the amount, and who it's payable to, and the date. What's so funny?
Nothing.
Oh, I saw you grinning. And then the bank will automatically look at every check that comes in and compare it to that list. And if all 10 of those checks, any one of those 10 checks come and it matches the list, it clears it automatically. Now, somebody has your check and says, oh, I'm going to go create my own check and present it. Check number 11 comes through. The check number doesn't match. The dollar amount doesn't match, nor does the
signature,
the signature or the person that it's made out to, the payee. It will reject it automatically from your account. So that's one thing. The other piece of it is too, you could have it turned on, and as checks come in, it asks you to automatically to review them and decide should they get paid or not. And then if you don't review them in a certain amount of time, it will reject it automatically and it will not get presented on your account. So it's definitely something you should look at, right? That's one piece. The other thing you should do is look at your account on a daily basis. A daily basis. People with money check their account. I'm just going to say that again. Check your account on a daily basis. You should be looking at your account on a daily basis to see what's coming in, what's going out. Not once a month, not once a week.
Not just waiting until your bookkeeper or accountant, financial advisor tell you what's going on.
Right, because you don't know if your bookkeeper is internally, or you say, oh, I got somebody in my company who already does that. And then you turn around and that person in your company then slipped some money out of that account and you're not even aware of it because you're not keeping tabs of your own financial well-being for your business. So those are the two things I'm just going to put out there right away is go check on positive pay and see if that's a good fit, and look at your account on a daily basis so you understand how much money is coming in and how much is money going out. I look at every one of my accounts every day. Soon as I wake up in the morning, as I'm brushing my teeth, I have my app for my bank open and I'm going through each account. First, I look at what the daily balance is, and then I click on the transactions, and I scroll through every transaction until I see the transaction, the previous transaction, the last transaction I saw from the previous day. Every day, I do it religiously in the morning. 6 a.m., I'm looking at the transactions, swiping. I see something that doesn't look right, I'm questioning it right away. Two things, actionable items.
All right. So in the 1 minute that we have left, I was going to give some additional recommendations that aren't related to bank fraud, but more so into how you position your business so that you're not a fraud as a business owner. Number one, make sure that you understand what your business is and what you do. This is a quiet time in many businesses, so you can really reevaluate what it is your clients are buying or why they're selecting you to provide them with the service, and how do you differentiate yourself so that you can come through this stronger than when we went into it. Number two, you want to create a competitive map. That's something that you can do graphically, visually, on paper, and you just write out where do you do well compared to your competition? Where does your competition make you look look insufficient? And then figure out where the gaps are. In some places, they might call that a SWOT analysis, but think about what your competition is doing that you're not doing, that you might be able to do better. And then think about what you're doing that the competition isn't doing, where you're slaying them. Then you want to talk to your customers and prospective customers to see what it is that they need. Don't wait until, we're all back to work and then say, oh, what are you going to buy? What do you think you're going to need once you're back up and running? Now is the perfect time to assess that. And lastly, you want to identify products and services that your clients and prospective clients will need as we continue to go through this, and on the other side, that you may not currently offer. If you can start lining up your supply chain, if you can start doing your business plan to incorporate those products and services, then you'll be able to position yourself and your business for opportunities and for growth, to make you stronger than you were coming into this when we come out. So that's how you won't be fraudulent in how you run your business. Cope has shown how you can be not be as susceptible to fraud when it comes to banking. And we've shared some of our personal experience in terms of business as it relates to fraud so that you don't get got. Is there anything you want to add, Chief?
Yeah, I think that's it on fraud, but this is a time, everybody. That's all I got to say. It's bad out here right now, but make it good. Like, this is the time to dig your heels in and put out content. Think about what else your business could be offering your clients. You just talked about it. Like, what else could you be doing? Like, now is a time to dig deep down inside, like, that dark recess inside you, and like bring out every piece of fire you got left. Like, don't let this market be the thing that breaks you if you're really in this for being in business. Like, this is the opportunity. And I'm going to, like, even to some, like, this is right now is going to give some people the excuse to be like, I'm out of business because of Corona. Like, let's be clear. Legitimately, some people who have been busting their ass and really working hard and doing the right thing will legitimately get the short end of the stick business-wise because the way this thing just plays out, right? Like, you legitimately had to close. You were running a business and your finances were really close, but you were making it and you enjoyed it. But because of this, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. That I'm not taking anything away from that. And like, much respect to those business owners who are out there hustling and struggling on a daily basis. But I'm talking about those who were in the game and was kind of like faking it and fronting it, but just like kind of doing this thing and taking the photos and like whatever. And then they're like, oh, because, and they knew inside, like, I got to tap out soon. But if I tap out, people are going to laugh at me or I'm going to look whatever. And now they're like, oh, I can tap out now because I can blame it on Corona. Like, blame it on the rain. What song is that? Like, they're going to be blaming it on Corona. Like, oh, I had to close my business because of Rona. Like, she took me out, right? But this is like, you in this, you for real about this? This is the time you step back and say, yeah, Rona's here, but how do I turn this into the next pivot or the next economic advantage to grow my business, right? Like, this dude posted on LinkedIn, this gentleman, not dude, sorry, posted on LinkedIn. I have no idea who he is. I have no idea how I saw it. It just randomly posted up, like, I'm getting flashed a 0-minute sign. Audience, and like, truly, I give 0 Fs right now about the 0 sign, because this is real. Like, and there are people. Shout out to my boy Lawrence down in Maryland. Like, he hit me up the other night, DM me and was like, yo, I'm in a funk about this right now. And we was just sending each other videos back and forwards. And I'm just like, you got to stay strong with this and fight through it, because this is a temporary thing. And this happened probably for a reason. And if you're legitimate about being in business, you got to look at this way. This is tough. And you're fighting, and maybe you're struggling to make it through. But I tell you right now, hold on. Keep fighting. Because 2 things are going to happen positive for you. If you're putting out new stuff and trying stuff through this period, you're going to get more exposure. Your business could be in a totally better place. The other part of it is you could just be fighting to make it to the finish line, and you will still be in a better place than the person who gave up. Because when the switch, as they say, turns back on for the economy to go back to whatever's going to be normal, You will already be open versus your competitor down the block who has to go from being off to back on. You already still in the game. You just might have been running in the game in a reduced capacity, but you're still in the game.
You make a good point. We got cut off because we ran out of video. So
we didn't run out of video.
We are
my man's camera overheated. But we still good.
We still good. We still good. Well, we are grateful that you decided to join us for another episode of Commerce and Chill.
So don't give up. Stay in there. Like, fight through this. I was going to say something. I can't say it on this podcast.
Okay, thank you.
I'll say it on my personal Instagram because that channel is explicit.
X-rated. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you heard or if you don't like what you heard, come on back. Give us some comments. Like us. Don't like us. Subscribe. Show your auntie and your granny how to subscribe. Take her iPhone. Take her. If you know my friend Miss Mary had. Take Miss Mary's. What she have? What phone did she have?
I don't know. She got that big phone, like some Samsung something.
Take her big phone and download the Commerce and Chill app. Leave us some stars.
Oh, we got an app now?
I mean,
said Commerce and Chill
Commerce
app?
and Chill podcast. Speak it into existence.
We just blew up all of a sudden.
Speak it into existence.
Somebody give me my phone. Let me download it now from the App Store.
Subscribe to the podcast. Give us comments. Rate the podcast. And come back and let us know what it is that you want to hear, what it is you want us to discuss, what it is about our crazy journey that'll keep you involved and engaged for 20, 30 minutes. And we'll come back and do it again next week. I am Jessica Johnson Cope.
I'm Waleed.
Thanks. Great seeing you. Don't give up, and we'll see you soon. Peace.